What's up? Once again, it's the Zeal Brothers. We back. Hey, wanted to make a video this time about the high character man again. In a video in the past, I described the qualities of a high character man. And I wanted to talk about something because I was at the barbershop talking with a guy, and we were talking about how faithfulness is something that's completely lacking in our society today. And I talked about the fact that a lot of men, the reason that they have a hard time being faithful is they train themselves being basically sexual dogs for the most part, for the early part of their adult life. And then after that, they try to get married and they think they could turn on godliness with a switch. And he was saying, well, God can do anything. And that was his answer. And while I do accept that God can do anything, here's the thing, gentlemen. Godly qualities cannot be turned on and off like a switch. That's why one of the qualities of a high character man is that he's been doing it for 3 to 5 years. Because here's the thing. You cannot just turn on good qualities and expect them to be consistent. It's just not going to happen. So if you've been a liar your whole life, and then all of a sudden you try to be truthful, it's going to be hard for you. And the reason it's going to be hard is because you don't have any practice doing it. You don't even know what the ramifications of being honest in certain situations are because you are practicing lying in those situations. So when you get involved in something where it is your fault and now you got to tell the truth, you tell the truth and it goes bad for you. You're not ready for that. And you're not ready for that blowback that happens with the honesty because you never practiced that. You've never been to stage 2 of honesty, right? If honesty was a video game, you never made it past the first level because once it got difficult, you went straight to lying. It's the same thing with faithfulness. You train yourself to look at women and to try to immediately go to sleep with them, right? If you were attracted to them. And now all of a sudden you have a girl that you really love and you love her. And now you think you could just turn that other switch off, and it's just not possible. Now, here's the thing. You can train yourself to turn those switches off. And ultimately, when we bring fellas into the church, that's what they do, right? Fellas in the church are training constantly to turn those switches that they used to have on all the time, turn them off. But it will be difficult. It will be difficult. And the problem with a lot of people when they come to church is they hear a sermon. And the sermon makes being good seem like it is possible and therefore easy, right? Think about it. I just got to stop lying, right? It sounds so easy. But the problem is that when you try to do godliness, you will find it very difficult. You will find that the description, right? That's what a sermon is. A description of what good character is not enough to enable you to do it. And when you find that the description is not enough to enable you to do it, you might get discouraged and you might think that the sermon is useless. I'm here to tell you it's not, right? The sermon is a path that shows you how to do it. But the truth of the matter is that doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult. No different than if you were just a couch potato your whole life and you wanted to run 2 miles. It is not impossible to run 2 miles, but it will be impossible for you to run 2 miles right from the start. You have to train yourself. And if you train yourself, you can almost run any distance so long as you are physically capable, right? As long as I'm talking about you're not crippled, you don't have broken bones, you don't have messed up muscles, etc. To the extent that your body is physically fit, you could train yourself to almost do anything. Maybe not at record time, but you can accomplish something. In the same way it is with godliness. You can train yourself for godliness, but you can't just turn on a switch. Now, this is the same with you women. I know y'all thought this was just going to be focused on men, but it's going to be on women too. A lot of women will say things like, I will be submissive to the right man. Or, I will be a wife when the right man comes along. And here's the thing, you can't turn it on. You cannot just all of a sudden try to turn on the feminine characteristics just because a guy comes along, because it's not going to work. Your natural combative attitude will come out because you don't even know what submissiveness means. You don't even know when a guy tells you something you don't like, but you still have to follow his leadership. You don't know what that means. Now, the truth of the matter is that most of women do know what it means because they have jobs, right? And when they have jobs, their boss tells them stuff they don't want to do all the time, and they listen to that guy. So It is always a problem, and one of the things I've always confronted all the time is why is it that a lot of our modern women can listen to people on the job, but they can't listen at home? And that's something you got to confront with your own heart. But the truth of the matter is, you also cannot turn on godly characteristics with a snap of your finger. What you can do is train yourself. How do you train yourself? Well, here's the thing. The way you're going to train yourself is, number one, repeating that action over and over. Just like any sports, right? If you go to any sport, especially baseball, right? Baseball is today, the playoffs today. They have spring training. And in spring training, what they do is they go over the fundamentals over and over and over. If you want to train yourself to do godliness well, you got to study your fundamentals. You got to practice them every single day. Here's the next thing you got to do. You got to surround yourself with people who want to practice those same fundamentals. It's a team game. You need to surround yourself with serious players on that team. When you look at the professional athlete, it is amazing how many athletes try to get out of teams that aren't serious and get on to teams that are championship bound. And there's a reason for that. And a lot of times you'll see players' performances even go up because they're on a championship tier team. And the reason for that is your company will improve your behavior, right? So when you surround yourself with people that are serious, you will find that you yourself will also be serious. So that's the second thing, right? First thing, practice fundamentals. Second thing, surround yourself with people that also practice those fundamentals. And then I would say the last thing is you actually have to have the ability to do it within you. If you are not committed to a faithful, Bible-believing church and you expect to have these principles that God is preaching just appear in you, and you're not faithful to a church, you don't faithfully read your Bible, you don't receive regular correction from others, then that's not possible. You would be like the guy who never got off his couch trying to out sprint Usain Bolt in his prime. It's not going to happen. So hey, follow those 3 principles, but remember, you cannot turn on godliness with a switch. You got to be trained.